A couple of just administrative things. I didn't hand out the deck of slides that I'm going to talk about this morning. They will be available on the Society's website on Monday, and I welcome you to take advantage of that. And what I want to talk about this morning and put into a context is some of the things that are happening in the delivery of legal services and how they will impact on all of us. At the outset, I should note that I'm not a techie, I'm not a nerd, I'm not anyone with very sophisticated knowledge of technology, about the internet, about communications. But what I do is watch what's going on in the legal profession across this country, in the United States, in the Commonwealth, and in particular with what's happening in England, which Tim alluded to earlier. Although my interest is primarily in the common law world, I do recognize that some of the changes I'm going to speak about are also unfolding across Europe and to a lesser degree in Asia. But our focus will be primarily on what is happening in the English-speaking world. And because I'm a regulator, the issues, the revolution that I will speak about that will impact all of us as practitioners will also have a significant impact on how we regulate the legal profession. So it's a two-pronged issue. It'll impact how you practice, and it will impact and raise profound issues for how we regulate. Yesterday, we received an inquiry about a potential unauthorized practice from a paralegal practicing out of Ontario. It's the kind of thing we see on a fairly regular basis, and as I talk a little bit more, the thing we will have to recognize is that there are no longer any borders, and those present real challenges both for us as practitioners and for us as the regulator. So I want to demonstrate how legal service delivery is changing quite radically around the world. Some of you, I acknowledge, will see this as threatening. I hope that most of us will see it as exciting. In less than a generation, the internet has revolutionized our lives. Most of us, some of us, will remember when it was not part of how we do business. It wasn't part of how we find things that we want. It wasn't the platform that we used for communication. But it was less than 20 years ago that the word internet first appeared in the New Yorker magazine. And it appeared in this cartoon where the caption says, "When you're on the internet, no one knows you're a dog." And in many ways, that simple caption captures so many of the issues that will and are impacting professional service regulators. Things that we need to be mindful of. The anonymity that the internet allows. The innovation and speed that the internet enables. And the loss of exclusivity that the internet secures. For if a dog can pretend to be a person on the internet, anyone can pretend to be a lawyer and offer legal services. But the internet is now really old hat, at least that part of it that we access on a desktop computer. It's the smartphone, maybe the BlackBerry, which unfortunately for those of us who own shares in RIM may be old technology, or it'll be the iPhone, and now even more dramatically the tablet, mostly the iPad, that is changing how work is done, where work is done, with whom we can work. For legal services, we are also in the midst of another kind of revolution. How lawyers market to clients, get clients, and keep clients is in the midst of a major transformation. How lawyers provide services to those clients and the changing expectations of those clients, be they personal clients or institutional clients, is something that we have to recognize. Just as few lawyers today, I would suspect no lawyer today, can practice without email, in the near term, few lawyers will be able to deliver legal services as you do today. The issue for both lawyers and regulators will be whether we see the revolution and embrace it, or whether we see it and ignore it, or whether we don't see it at all. So my thesis today is really quite simple. Our clients and the public we serve are witnessing lightning speed differences in much of what we do. They, those clients, will expect and demand that law practice be part of what is going on around them in virtually every sphere of their lives. In other words, that as everything they do changes, they too will expect that law practice changes. Legal regulation itself is under scrutiny. As Tim alluded to, changes have already taken place in the United Kingdom and Australia and New Zealand. And last summer, a book was released in the United States under the foreboding title, at least for me, First Thing We Do, Let's Deregulate All the Lawyers. Certainly a play on words of the Shakespearean language from Henry IV. And an editorial commenting on that book in the Wall Street Journal commented favorably about it. The editorial argued that it is time for the legal profession to be deregulated, as other industries have been, in order, and listen to this, in order to create price competition for legal services, in order to spur innovation in the delivery of legal services, and to reduce the premium that lawyers get for pricing their services as a result of strict occupational licensing. In effect, the Wall Street Journal was saying to us, you've got a monopoly on the delivery of legal services, and as a result of that, you have forced prices to the point where they are no longer affordable by most of our clients. As a profession, the risk for us is that those who fail to recognize the changes that are occurring and continue to think that nothing has changed, there will be obstacles and challenges which eventually will be impossible to conquer. In other words, if you don't change, in my view, the tsunami will come down upon you. 10 years ago, no one would have thought that Kodak might disappear. The Kodak moment was almost ingrained in our DNA. As little as 3 years ago, we and our children would buy compact discs as if they would never go out of style. Not one of our children today would burn music to a compact disc. They wouldn't do it to a compact disc any more than they would burn it to a vinyl record. That's the changes, that's the speed of the change that we're talking about. So today, the iPad, the iPhone, the BlackBerry, the virtual law firm, cloud computing, things which I'm going to come back to, are but a few of the changes that are rapidly altering the world in which we live and practice. The services that we provide, they're advisory, they will continue to be drafting, they will continue to be advocacy, and a myriad of other tasks will remain fairly stable. What I'm speaking about is the means by which we deliver those services, and that will become the issue for the profession. Around the world, as I've said, we are seeing dramatic changes in the types of services that are being made available to the public. And for us in Canada, we will have to become much more aware of that. The challenge for the legal profession and for law firms will be whether we are Kodak, whether we are some analogy to the compact disc.